What's up, you guys? It's 2bricks, and today I'm bringing you another set modification. This is the most recent iteration of the kind of cheap but still good versions of things that we've already gotten. And I like this particular set, the Imperial Shuttle. There's a couple of things I would have done differently though. And since LEGO is a modular building system, I can show you guys what I would have done. The first thing I would have changed, I actually can't do anything about, which is the minifigure selection. I actually would have, if it were me, made this into a Mandalorian Season 2 set and included Dr. Pershing and some additional, specific Imperial pilots, because we've gotten a version of this guy a million times. And of course, Luke and Vader are nothing special because we've gotten a million of those as well in these exact costumes with slight tweaks. Of course, I don't think either of these are exactly the ones we've gotten before, but I have to double check on that. But yeah, I would have set it in a different time period just to give it a little bit of additional interest that the previous version of the set didn't have. So that's change one. But the actual physical model I think is really good.
But it can be better.
And I'm going to show you guys today some of the ways that I would tweak it to just improve the overall proportions, accuracy, and look of the thing. And hopefully, you guys will get a kick out of that. As usual, I've included the instructions so you can make those same modifications yourself if you decide that you want to do that. And without further ado, let's get in and see some of the things that I would personally like to change. So I'll just give you a quick rundown of the things that bugged me a little bit about the set proportion-wise and features-wise. I'm not a huge fan of the look of these cannons right here. I never like when they have the solid barreled, just the single rod there for the cannons. And I'm not a huge fan of this shape in here. It's not super accurate, so I'm going to see if I can do something about that. These cannons should ideally be able to rotate up and away when the thing is in its landed configuration, so I'd like to try to replicate that if I can. There is a huge gap under here where you can just see the pilot minifigure, see his legs sticking out and everything right through there. And this whole section under here is very bulky, and the head is a little bit too high, and the shape of the head is a little bit wrong. So this is where I'm going to kind of be focusing the main area of my work, I think. And then I'm going to see what I can do about bridging the neck a little bit more accurately to the source material there. And then I'm not going to really do anything with the inside. I think the inside works fine. It's limited in space. You can seat just two figures in there. And I mean, I think that just gives you basically what you need. So yeah, not going to tinker around with that too much. And I'm going to try to, also not increase the parts count too much either. But then this back section here I thought was a little bit, a lot kind of weird in the way that it's designed and the way that it looks. This is supposed to be like a little kind of dual cannon turret that can rotate around, and they have this weird sort of shaping in here, and this whole section, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff going on in here that I'm not really sure like what this actually is in here for. There's kind of a section that just sort of plugs in here, and I think it's just a space filling thing, but I'm going to try to do a little bit more of an accurate job on this section back here as well. Those are the main areas. I'm going to add in some little extra details like some additional fins and things that will kind of make this more screen accurate overall. But that's about it. I really like the overall proportion of the wings. I think that they are nicely done. I think that they look correct in the size compared to everything else. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to modify this set in the first place, because I think that it is a nice looking thing overall, and I just want to be able to bring it to kind of that slightly more accurate look so that folks who enjoy the movies and the models for their particular features that they have can get more of a kick out of this model that's already pretty good. So let's do a little bit of screen magic and jump forward to when I've actually made the changes, and I'll show you what I've done. So here that is. All right, you guys, so you can see here I have now made the changes that I wanted to make. It took me about, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. No, I'm just kidding, it took me quite a while. You can see I have a bunch of parts and things that I have left over from the build and from various little experimentations that I did. And the final result is back here, the new and improved Lambda shuttle. Well, improved is subjective, I guess, but I like it better anyway. So let's take a look at some of the changes that I made. All right, so I'll show you some of the things that I removed. Essentially, this whole front cockpit section where, the nose attached is gone. I pretty much redesigned that from scratch. I took out a lot of the kind of sloped, specialized sloped and cone pieces that gave the nose that really, really snub point there, which I think is common to a lot of Lego Lambda shuttles, but isn't actually especially screen accurate. If you go back and look, the front of the Lambda almost looks like, you know, that 80s Lamborghini that James Bond rode around in? It has a very similar boxy 80s look to that. And I really wanted to get the rounded look on the edges of the windows here, so I went ahead and did a really custom, specialized windscreen display here, and also made it much more proportionally accurate. This whole front plate here is redesigned. But I retained, you know, all of the same play features. I'll show you guys the interior in a second and how all that works. So I redesigned these cannons as well. So let's get in a little bit closer here. These cannons are brand new, and I think that they look way more accurate. And like I mentioned before, I managed to get that feature in there where they can tuck away as they are supposed to be able to do. I redesigned these guns down here to just be a little bit more accurate as I see it. This is a really tricky shape. It's kind of round cowling that goes around these guns here, but I made them a lot more stubby because they're really supposed to contrast with these long, you know, broad, long cannons here. And I think, you know, side by side, those look really nice together. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. Some of the other major improvements I made here are in the back. So I redesigned a lot of the detailing in here to, again, just be a lot more screen accurate with these nice little fins, and change the orientation of this section right here. And I also extended out the back of this, which previously was just flat. It terminated right here with this flat brick. And I just brought that out into a rounded shape so it kind of more closely resembles its on-screen counterpart. And I added a brand new assembly in here for the turret, and the way that this all attaches, I think, covers up this design much better. And when you lift the back section here, it still works perfectly fine, just like it did before, and you have plenty of space to get in there and place your characters. So nothing was really lost functionality-wise there, so I'm happy about that. On the underside here of the wings, you can see some improvements that I made where I just added this rounded plate and a lot more coverage here to make this feel a little bit less bare bones as it did before, and a couple of slopes in here to just kind of blend the wing, you know, to make it feel a little bit more, you know, I don't know, seamless, I guess. And then up at the top here, you can see I just added this gray plate because that is a detail present in the model. There's a gray square on that part of the wing. And since the wings are up, you know, a lot of the time on this design, I thought that was an important thing. And then I also redesigned the entire way that this neck section looks. And from the underside here, you can see it's far more screen accurate with the sloped in underside and much less chunky section here. And then we have this nice fin detail, which again is present on the real thing, the kind of grille look, giving it again that kind of 80s Lamborghini look that I love so much about it. It's very much a vehicle of its time, and I wouldn't want to shy away from that. So this part right here is added again to fill in that neck like it's supposed to be in the real design, and I just had to adapt what was attached on here before. It was just a single jumper plate that was in there, and I just filled it in with this block detail. And then with this whole front face kind of plate section here, I really tried to be faithful to the shape of the way that this comes up here, and these two little kind of horns that come off the back of that, and the shape of the windshield, and the proportion of that in the black compared to the white, and the amount that there is right there. I really experimented a lot with different ways to get that as perfect as I could at this scale, and to make it really try to fit in that really sleek with the design here, and I think it looks pretty good. You know, I don't think it's, you know, there's no way to really make it perfect at this scale, but I think I'm relatively satisfied with how that turned out. And like I said, on the underside here, I have a lot of nice detail, and this is way more covered up than it was previously. You're not going to be seeing the underside of the pilot through here anymore. And I just added a couple of lights in here for accuracy, because those are there as well. I wasn't able to get the boarding ramp, obviously, because that's just impossible with it being this small, but you would imagine that, you know, this is where it would descend down, kind of this section right here. I just left the landing gear, the landing legs, whatever they are, untouched, because, you know, it works just fine. It's not the prettiest thing, but it's okay. So yeah, that's the kind of main changes that I made on the outside. So let's take a look at the inside. So this is attached with 4 clips right here, and you can see there's plenty of nice kind of shaping and console detail in there for your pilot to be able to pilot the ship, which is of course important. He fits in there just fine. There's a little gap down in here for him to sit in, and you can close that up with no issue. And you can actually see through there because this is, even though it's black all around the edges, there's actually a window piece that's transparent in the middle here, and when it's closed up it's all nice and dark and you can't really see that it's a transparent piece, and unless it hits the light just right, but canonically he can see out of that window just like he's supposed to be able to. It always bothered me how opaque a lot of the windows tend to be in models of this section, and I was just wondering, how's he going to see? So I just decided to have a window there. I really like the kind of amount of console detail and things I was able to fit into this tiny space, and I just gave him a little bit of a slightly more lush interior with a little bit of detail back here with a little red. There's like, Imperial vehicles always have some red light detail back there, so there's a little bit of extra structure around there too, just to make it feel a little bit more enclosed and like he's not going to get sucked into the vacuum of space. It seals up a little bit more nicely than before. So then when we open up the back section here, it's the same mechanism as it was before, just with that extra block attached. And I've reconfigured the inside a little bit to give more space, and I added this plate right here, and I took off these little brackets that were on the side. Those were to hold the character's lightsabers. So I just added this plate because I wanted to have a spot for Vader to be able to sit, and he has the, sorry, let me just take off his lightsaber. Vader has the crinkly style of capes that can get creased up really easily, so I just went ahead and added an extra plate to raise him up ever so slightly so that his cape does not have to get damaged when you sit him down in there, and it gets all messed up from the studs where he was sitting previously. And then I added 2 clips up here, so we have all this space up here on the roof, and I figured may as well make use of that space. So Vader's saber can go right there, and here we have, of course, captured Luke Skywalker, so his saber goes on the other side, like so. And then there's a spot right here in front of Vader for him to sit. And whoops, let me just reattach the gun really quick. And so there we go. Whoops. There we go. So yeah, there we go. 2 lightsabers, 2 characters, no crinkled capes, and a partridge in a pear tree. So there we go. Perfect. So there that is. And the way that this all just kind of, you see having the 2 sections right there, but when it comes together, it all just fits pretty seamlessly and it blends pretty well. And it just feels like one continuous structure all the way through here. I took the, made sure the gapping is really minimal on that section, so it seals up pretty nicely. So there we go. So there's the kind of full overview of all the changes that I made to the Lambda shuttle. And again, this is something that I really had a lot of fun doing, and I love modifying sets to my own taste. I do it pretty much all the time, usually not to this extent. If I really don't like a set, I usually just take it apart and use it for a mock or something. But in this case, I thought it was a really nicely designed model overall, and I thought that it was a good base for some modification. So hopefully you guys enjoy it, and if you do end up building it, let me know. Tag me on social media. I love to see what you guys think and how you're enjoying the models and things that I make. So, so yeah, that's going to about do it for today's video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys do have any other ideas for set mods that you'd like to see, I can't guarantee that I'll do them, but a lot of times I don't even have the particular set that is requested. But you can leave the suggestion anyway, and I will definitely read it. I read all my comments, and I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you on the next video, and may the Force be with you.